Everybody, welcome to Caketastic Cakes. It's Jen, and if you're tired of your typical princess look of your princess cakes, check out this tutorial on how to make a little pumpkin coach. And if you see me using any tools or supplies you could use, check the link in the description below. It should be able to help you out. Now, I started with gum paste. You could probably use fondant if you added some CMC or Tylose powder to it, but I like gum paste. I'm using gum paste. I rolled out some white pretty thin, maybe, quarter of an inch thick. Cut out a circle. It's about a 3-inch circle, and I tapered the edges. I just kind of pushed them down, pinched them around, and now I'm using my roll-in pin to try to get some of those lumps and bumps out. I'm using a larger circle to just smooth up my edges because, it got a little sloppy looking. And that's going to be the basis for my coach. I'm putting 2 indentations, one kind of on either side, like a quarter of the way through. And then I'm going back over those indentations with my veining tool there and deepening them, making them wider. And this is going to give my coach more of a pumpkin-y kind of look. I suppose you could put one more down the middle if you want, but I was just keeping it a little bit more simple. And so I just did the 2. Now I'm using some silver edible spray. It's just a Wilton brand. And I'm spraying all around my pumpkin, and now I'm going to put it aside and let it dry. And I did mention that you could use gum paste or fondant with this decoration as long as you treat the fondant. So if you ever have any questions about the difference between the two, I'll put a link to my one video that explains the difference between gum paste and fondant in case you're curious. Now back to the decoration. I've taken some of my white gum paste and I've rolled it out using my fondant paddle there till it's nice and long and thin, divided it in half and cut it, and I'm going to use these pieces to create the wheels for my carriage. So I start out with just a little loop in the center and I loop it around, I guess you could call it twice. And I'm going to have it just go down toward the center. My loops, though, don't touch. So you want, like, the classic Cinderella Disney version. The spiral vines, I guess, of the pumpkin are what make up the wheels. So that's kind of the look I'm going for here. I don't want them to touch. I want them to have that spirally look. And because it is gum paste, it will harden and hold its shape, and I'll show you in my next video when I put it on the cake and make the cake how I make this into a standing decoration too. Now I've got a circle there that's about the same size as my pumpkin, and I'm using a stick to have it all sitting flat. I don't want my wheels up in the air when I have it standing on the cake later on. My pumpkin has dried, so now I'm giving it another coat. You can see it was a little patchy before, so it looks better now. Again, put it aside, let it dry. Now this is a molding set that I got. I believe it's a Wilton brand. It's just leaves and swirls and fancinesses. And so that's what I'm using to make the decorations for my carriage. This was purchased at Walmart, easily available, not that expensive. And I've used it for a lot of different things, but princess cakes, it comes up pretty often, I will admit. All right, I'm using some of my different sizes there. I've got different shapes, and I'm going to use those little ones kind of a lot. So that's what I'm going to start with for now. Those 2 little ones there, I'm going to make into a heart shape. See how they just kind of go together? And then if you actually pull the bottoms out and pinch them together, there you go. You got a little heart out of it. I'm going to put that on the top of my carriage. Now my silver pumpkin has dried, and so I'm going to put the pieces together to make sure it all fits together. And then I'm going to go back and paint everything you'll see soon. A gold shimmer to go with the silver of the pumpkin. And that is the larger piece that I have. I'm going to put that in the back, what's going to be, I guess, I consider the back of the carriage. It's going to be where the coachman would stand if there were any luggage or whatever like that. So that's the coachman's seat back there. I've got a slightly smaller one in the front. Again, I could have this backwards. Don't hold me, totally accountable on this. Smaller one in the front for where the horseman would sit, or the driver, whatever you call it. So yes, I just have different sizes there. If you want to go symmetrical, with yours, go ahead. It just will still look pretty. Okay, this is going to be the window/door of the carriage. I just cut out a nice circle shape that I thought was a good size, piecing it together, and I'm going to make it more oval shaped rather than completely circular. So I got my oval shape, I got a couple more of those little ones. I'm going to give my little window some bunny ears because why not? Makes it look a little bit more festive. When I'm happy with everything, it's time to paint it all gold. So I'm using a little bit of some alcohol and my gold edible shimmer there, and I just start painting. The only problem with this is that, of course, you can only get the top and the bottom and the sides so well, and the back not at all, unless you let everything dry and then flip it. Now, since my cake is not going to be viewed from behind, I'm not worried about how it looks from behind. And so this is when I say, perfect, good enough. All right, moving on. Time to attach my pieces. You can see that the gum paste too, when I'm moving it right now and, moving the decorations around, they're starting to set up. Adding the alcohol with the shimmer to it did reintroduce moisture to them, so they are going to be a little bit more pliable again. But no problem, they will dry up again. Ooh, sorry for that jiggle there. I bumped my camera. Okay, again, lining everything up so it sits nice and flat, and just putting my pieces back together. So I add a little bit of water on my paintbrush, or water if you're from anywhere outside of the Philly area. And I'm connecting my pieces together. You gotta be careful. Put the water on the back of your decoration, not on the silver shimmer, because you could accidentally just wipe it right off. All right, for my little door and window, I'm going to show you what I did here. I took a little circle that kind of fit the bottom of my oval there. I cut a little divot out, so now I've got a very sloppy kind of kidney bean shape. I put it underneath my frame there, and I'm going to trim off the extra because I want this to sit as flush as possible. I don't want layers of thickness, so that if you look at it, you're like, oh, the frame for the door is sticking out at me for some reason. So I trim it all down until it tucks in very nice and neat. I have some pink gum paste that I rolled out very thin, just like the white, very thin. And I'm going to make those into curtains. And I just think the pink, the soft pink, just kind of suits it nicely, goes well. Again, tracing it out, finding the right size circle to get the nice angle of the trace I made, and then cutting out my shapes there. Now it's still pliable, so I'm just going to kind of mush it together at the top. Put a couple indentations in it on either side to make it look like folds in the curtains, I guess you could say. And because I trimmed it and I measured it, it just fits so perfectly on the very first try, and it's completely not because I edited this video and cut out the parts where I had to retrim it a little bit. Nope, perfect first try. Okay, I've got a couple more of my little gold pieces there to hide the joint at the bottom where the wheels come to the bottom of the carriage. Add a little bit of water carefully. I know I'm contradicting myself here. To the silver, but I've got so much covered that you're pretty much not going to see it. Press it down carefully. Make sure you don't leave silver or gold fingerprints anywhere. And there's your carriage. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It's short, but it's super cute, right? Please consider liking and subscribing because it really does help me out. Check out my many other videos, as well as the one I'm going to have Friday where I show you the cake I made for this and put it all together. And as always, thank you for watching Caketastic Cakes.